yeah, so I have been doing 8 years software engineering with software which have over 7 million lines of code, so it's quite legacy code. After that, I have been working with leading the team on DevOps team, and now I kind of first wanted to say that I'm talking about DevOps team, even I know that DevOps is more kind of culture, it's more way of doing things together to get to end result out. But still, I have been leading 5 or already 6 years DevOps team, and I'm going to talk to you about that, how to do that in this kind of legacy software, legacy environment. At the beginning, I'm going to show a little about my company and the product we do, just to make the base about our environment where we work. So I work at Trimble. I don't know how many of you have heard about the company. Some. Trimble trying to transform the way the world works. So we do quite much business-to-business software, hardware, things which improve our customers and users' way of working in future. For example, we do things like GPS to satellites, to some automation to the agriculture. Me, myself, I'm working in the buildings division, so we do this 3D software construction industry and trying to improve that to be more agile and more transparent. I'll show you about my division short video.
How would you create a world with no boundaries? Would you design structures that defy gravity? Would you design software that lets you visualize the future? Would you create systems that could turn night into day and winter into summer? Would you create a way to make space feel infinite? Would you build buildings with the touch of a button? At Trimble, we believe you do it by uniting hardware, software, and services, converging people and projects, so you can build for everything, except boundaries.
Yeah, so that video was talking about no boundaries, and now we come to construction industry, where my product is, where I'm working. So we try to make our customers and our users to feel the no boundaries in their projects. Tekla product family is exactly what I'm working with. This is the model. I don't know how many of you have seen that in Southeast Asia. There is this kind of this our customer model done by our software. So it has all the information from the smallest bolts, if you zoom in to very closely, so you can see how different beams and columns are connected to this big view of huge buildings. So you can count how much steel you need, how much you need concrete to that. And these buildings are huge in reality. If you go to Southeast Asia, go to check them out if they're quite cool with forests. Then we come to construction industry. Construction industry as such is quite legacy one. So it means it has, I don't know, since people have been walking, they're already building the houses and building a way, different way the buildings. They have own projects, own process. So we're quite far away from IT projects. They have quite heavy national legislations. Now I maybe move to this part. And national legislations, meaning that different countries have different rules how you can produce your models, your drawings. You need to have, okay, metrics, and this inches is very easy, but then you need to have different dimensions. So you need to have dimensions with 1 line or 2 lines, number up or down. So our software provide that for every different country, so that we can produce construction drawings automatically. So there is quite much still 2D construction drawings that different governments demands. We have 3D models which have all the information, but still people need it with 2D drawings. There is still some customers which use pen and kind of paper to do this 2D construction drawings, and now we're talking about continuous release, out kind of UX and all technology stuff, which we are not used to. They usually have many years-long projects. So with our software, usually modeled are skyscrapers or Olympic stadiums. Of course, smaller buildings too, but this is where our software is given most. Then you build some big building like Olympic stadium. It will take years. It will take years, and it will produce a lot of documents. So you can do that automatically with software, but then our users don't want to change their version to newer one. They don't take updates. They're scared of that because you know that probably they finished Lansi Metro already. That they have building projects which are getting over the budget. They're getting over the timeline. They're very scared to update the software which they have there on their desk, and we have all this information which they provide to their kind of customers, to government. So it's not agile, how we understand it in IT. It's not lean at all. But we need to be, as software engineers, are proud what we do, and as a company, as product development, we need to be agile anyway. So how to then balance these two things? Not non-agile kind of customers, old-fashioned partly, and then us who would like to do things and release things fast. So 2012, I was appointed to start that team. The name is an interesting one. So we end up having a team with having building, automation, analysis, testing, whatever you can just fit to these 3 letters, which kind of comes from CI. At that point, we didn't have any Devops word even. We didn't know even about that. So it came later when we realized that, okay, Devops practices are quite about what we do. At that point, we already had some tools in place, so we didn't start from beginning. Our idea was to fasten our release. We had around the same as version control management, which meant the code changes were done to the master line, to main line, which we had to production. We had cruise control, so we ran our continuous integration builds every 2 hours, I guess. Usually when people did the code changes and it broke the code for, I'd say, 40 developers, it was faster to get feedback from your teammate or somebody sitting on the same floor that, hey, you broke our code, you broke our software, than waiting for continuous integration to come out. We had already at that point, 2012, some test automation. So when I started 2005, we had test automation in place already on some level. We had in 2012 already much more test automation, but I'm still saying some because we had running in once a day to same master, to same branch which we had all the code in, which meant that in the morning, if something broke up some test, then all our people were wondering who from you who have put their changes in was breaking it. So it was quite chaotic in that sense. We needed to transform towards DevOps, and that's what my team was helping with. Transformation is not easy. You need to change quite many things: tools, processes, workflows, I would say, and mindsets. That's the most important things. So changing the tools is not enough. So we started with transforming the tools. Like I said, we had at that point client-server version control system, so where the code put it directly to everybody. We changed it to the Git, to distributed system. We had at that point code reviews from the documents, so it's 2012. People collected together and then we checked the code from that, but they did give valuable feedback. But now we had Bitbucket in place. We transformed. Now I'm talking about 100 people, transforming the tools for 100 people, not 1 team or 2 teams, but quite a big amount of people. We changed to pull request process. We had at the very beginning, kind of the code reviews, we had very much comments about style. Now the developers probably recognize that, oh, you have big letter there, you should have small one. You don't follow our style. It's very annoying when you have very highly skilled people commenting about very kind of unnecessary things, but they should be correct. Now we set up the tool for this kind of feedback. Then we could talk about then really code architecture, how the solution of the features are done. So we had SonarQube now for checking our code styling issues. And then we had continuous integration at place at that time, but we produced binaries. I'm talking about a product which is people are using on Windows. They run the installer, and then we get the product to use. we produced our continuous integration at that point binaries. So it wasn't the same what our users did get. So we needed to change our continuous integration system. We changed to TeamCity at that point, and we changed our process with TeamCity to do the installers, real installers, after when you do the change, code change. So transforming all these tools, it does take time. Besides that, with all these new tools, it comes new processes. So it's not just changing the tool, you need to teach people how to use the tools. At the beginning, we had these direct commits with version control system. Now we changed to these feature branches. And when you talk about feature branches, I mean that the changes happening in our case in 1-2 days, not 1 week. So feature branch in our case is not long. So our development teams are doing changes to same code base, to same installer. They usually have on workflow for a couple of days, and then they merge it to everybody to be able to test. Test automation, they had that in our main branch, our main product. We did test nightly. Nowadays, we have test automation everywhere. So we have, of course, the nightly one, and then we do test our product also in feature branches on every kind of way where development teams are working on. So we try to get the feedback very fast to developers. We had code reviews after merge before, because we had one code base where people do the changes, and then they change the code. Nowadays, we have pull request and code reviews approved beforehand. It changes, it's small change when you read it from here, but it does take time for developers to understand that why we are doing this way. We had previously this nightly test automation, and nowadays we have these tests and pull requests. So we need to get quality code beforehand you do the changes. You need to check that things works beforehand. Why I'm doing it? It's most important to failing fast. As faster we fail, because if our customer take our installation in 2 years long project, after 2 years, it's quite slow feedback loop to development. Developers would like to know much faster when we fail. So with all this, we help them to get the feedback faster. Even our customer maybe not taking to use the installer yet, but everybody else in the company can take. Our area offices can take and get that feedback for us. The most important, like I said, is transforming the mindset. Now we were changing quite many people way of working, and the comments which I got a lot of different comments, but I think that's the most often heard ones. If we wait for code review, so our release can be delayed. The question is is as itself a very interesting one. So if you try to do quality software, you are not afraid of pushing your changes or new features, which nobody tests or check the code before to release to the customer. But you could just push the release out and not think about that. I think it's safer to do the code review or testing beforehand. Next one, I know my changes will not break anything. QA follows the test anyway. So somebody else will check and if my code is okay and give me feedback. At the end, our developers need to understand that, hey, we are proud of our work. We are very proud of what we do. So you need to do quality software. So it's not QA or somebody else will say to you that, hey, you needed to be better. You need to understand that you be proud of what you do. And I think feeling that proud of my work is very important, which comes through this mindset change. And then the last one, we need to find someone to take the responsibility. I heard that one from one of previous speeches, so others are hearing that too. Probably some others here too. But is it so? Do we need to find somebody guilty after we fail? I think we need to do that things beforehand. We need to be proud of what we do, like the previous one. If we are proud, we don't need to find somebody who is responsible. We need to fix things when they come up. The responsibility is I kind of combine it quite much, this question with we need to have somebody guilty at the end, which is not kind of productive. Continuous deployment. Now when we come to this question, our customers are taking installers into use once in 3 years. Some, the biggest ones who do these kind of Lancy Metro projects, they don't want updates all the time. They're afraid their kind of product get more delayed for one small fix which might break one of their thousands of drawings. But what we do, we need to deploy all the time. So are we DevOps? Is what we do correctly? My team have ended up with results that we have 25 installation per version per day. What I'm saying per version, which means we have 3-4 currently versions which maintain, so which means 100 installers on the table of anybody to test. Every change that people do, they go automatically to installer phase. And because we are kind of international company, so any office in US, they can check if that works with Imperial. They can even show to the customer if that works with their model, the new feature. They can do that in Japan too, in 1 hour after somebody did the change. We have user feedback programs. We have UX people in our teams, and we have also user feedback programs. We ask about new features from our users. Even they don't take newest versions maybe into use, but they at least comment. And some of them get so excited that yes, they take them into use, updates. We demand quality. We don't want our product to be out of date. Even customers are slower. And we have fast failing loop. We get the feedback very fast. And I guess, yes, 1,000 builds were at the end. So it's because of all these feature branches, they do get tested, and we have creation, installation, quite much work and build farm. And I started with DevOps team, but I have DevOps team. I understand that DevOps is important as a culture. And why we have DevOps team at the end? So this huge transformation, which I was talking about, it needs support. It needs a heavy support to the people. Of course, this tool administration, it needs to, for 100 people, when you have the tools, you need to help them with these tools. And at the end, but my team is not with team which kind of you can give a package and say that please deploy it. We don't do that. Our teams, development teams, do that themselves. My team is just helping them. So if they need something in our process which is not work, we try to improve that, but we don't do that anything for them. And then for continuous improvement, as we would like having continuous releases at the end, we need to be ready to our customers. So we need to improve our processes towards that. We will be even more ready in future. I would say that yes, you can be DevOps in legacy surroundings, and I think you should be. Even the other world is not there, and still. But one day we will need that anyway, and we will be ready at that point. Thank you. Any questions?